ठीक हो गया. So I think again, not majority. Another question which I have is how many of you are in third and fourth year of your university right now? Third year and fourth year, or those who are like freshly graduate. ठीक है, a lot of you, a lot of you. Uh, मेरी screen पूरी भर गई है third year fourth year से, and I think that is why we are having this conversation. This conversation was going to be very relevant. My last question to you before I start and share screen: how many of you have given an interview? Now that interview can be, for an internship, for a full-time job, या NSA scholar में member बनने के लिए भी वो interview हो सकता है. So how many of you have given the interview? All right. So a lot of you. Now, my hope from all of you is that now when I'll speak, all of you will be sharing your experiences through chat, through opinions, through comments as well. I can see Laiba being here. Saiba, let's do one thing. We can come to Laiba in the end when I'll be done. So this way around, she can also share her experience as well. All right, makes sense. So a lot of you have given, interviews as well. My next question to you is, while I share my screen, if you have not been able to succeed in the interview, what do you think were the reasons you were unable to have that interview successful, or what were the growth areas? So maybe like feel free to use the chat box to share what were the growth areas, what were the mistakes. So Asya is saying that you being nervous was one of the reason why you did not succeed in the interview. I'm looking forward to the rest of the responses as well, and meanwhile I'll quickly share my screen without further ado. All right. So can you guys quickly confirm if my screen is audible, visible? Sarba, is it visible? ठीक हो
Yes.
गया. So
Yes, it is.
बेस्ट हो गया. तो मेरा सवाल आप सबसे ये है कि आप लोगों ने इंटरव्यूज दिए हैं, और इंटरव्यूज में अगर आप सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाए, so what was one of the reason, why you think that you were unable to clear that interview? So another answer is that lack of knowledge about that respective company, getting nervous, got one technical answer wrong, and then the whole interview went downhill. But I did get the internship. I think that's a great thing. I would love to know Tuba about that as well. But I think one way or another, all of us have respective experiences about our failures, about our successes. Sometimes we do get success, but regardless, when we get success, there is always a growth area within that as well. So we'll be talking about that today. Thank you so very much. And with this, today we are going to talk about interview not just as a medium of answering question, but also a medium to understand the psychology behind it, to understand how it can become conversational, to understand that how it can become less of a performative approach and more of an approach where we are just having conversation and talking about what do we have, what do we need to learn, and how company can actually help us as well. So moving forward, today's agenda is going to be very simple. We will be talking about the understanding of interviewer, because oftentimes we prepare for an interview as an interviewee. We basically rectify the answer, whereas we literally miss out the actual mantra, and that is how it is landing onto the interviewer, how interviewer basically think about it. We'll also be talking about passenger framework. While at Amal Academy's Career Prep Fellowship, we work very deeper into it. We take like at least 8 weeks throughout to talk every component about. But today we'll be touch basing about this one very important ingredient, and how you can basically incorporate it into your interview preparation. We'll also be talking about that how you need to draft your answer and craft your answer in a way where you're not exaggerating, where you're not dragging, where you're not sounding uninteresting. So how you can still stay interesting but also crisp as well. We'll be talking about being specific and other components such as networking and presence, and we'll also be providing you a checklist as well. Like I said, I have been through different interviews online and in person. And just to give you guys a quick heads up, this issue of interviews is a general issue. And that basically 67% of recruiters basically are not satisfied with the generation and with the graduation fellows who are graduated, basically because they do not know how to carry themselves in the interview. they do not know how to sustain in the job, and they do not have the right attitude. And that is rightly so, because again, all of us agree to the fact that we are heavily working on the tangible outcome. We are heavily being prepared for the technical part, but we in our universities, especially in the government sector, we're not prepared for the interpersonal part. And that's what we are going to talk about, the gap. So like, a lot of interviewers basically talk about that they do not specifically, in the first 2 or 3 questions look for the technical part. They basically look for your story, and that's basically, where your 90 seconds, are really important at the end, right? So how you're basically carrying yourself in the first 90 seconds of every answer, that matters a lot. We oftentimes think that, we need to ratify the answers which are technical, which are tangible, whereas interviewer basically, divide your interview into 3 parts. First is, do you have the right skills? And now skills basically divide onto the interperson. It also talks about, the technical part of your skills, but at the same time, how you are communicating it. And also, are you a good fit for an organization? Are you able to learn? Are you open to learn as well? So that's that. I'll move ahead further. Like I said, टेक्निकल फिट में चीजें ये होती हैं कि क्या आपको अपने एकेडेमिया के बारे में मालूम है, क्या आपका FIP के ऊपर अपना ग्रिप मौजूद है. बट एट द सेम टाइम, बहुत सारी जगहों पे जो लोग गलती करते हैं वो ये करते हैं कि they do not communicate and articulate it properly. They do not talk about their experiences. They do not talk about how they are a good problem solver and why the problem that is existing in organization, they are the ones who can actually solve it. They also do not, often talk about that how they, carry a right attitude, how they carry the right attribute, and how they carry the right fit. And this basically is an amalgamation of a right interviewee and how you basically should carry yourself as well. Oftentimes, when we are appearing in an interview, we just want to give all our information all at once. And in order to do so, we basically do not, possess to be an active listener. We just, want to speak. And whenever when we are trying to speak, we are not an active listener only, right? Before I move ahead to passenger series, I would like to pause here and I would like to listen to one person at least here. Maybe Tuba, if I can go ahead with you. How was your experience with the interview? What was your learning area? So I'll go ahead with you. Tuba Farooq.
ओके सो मेरा इंटरव्यू था, इट वाज फॉर द इंटर्नशिप एट नेस्पॉन्स सॉल्यूशंस। और उसमें ऐसा था कि वो पैनल इंटरव्यू था और डिफरेंट वहाँ पे पैनल्स थे, और आपका डिपेंड करता है कि आपका नाम किस पैनल के पास है। तो मेरा जो पैनल था वो मुझे ऐसा लगता है वो सबसे ज़्यादा मोस्ट टेक्निकल पर्सन पे कंट्रीब्यूट कंसिस्ट करता था। तो उसमें ऐसा था कि आई वॉज वेटिंग, और मैं अपने स्टूडेंट जो भी मेरे साथ थे और स्टूडेंट्स उनके वो मेरे क्लासमेट्स ही थे, तो मैं उनके साथ बात कर रही थी। और फिर ये हुआ कि मेरा सबसे आखिर में था, तो मैं सुन रही थी बेसिकली कि क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछे हैं। जो भी आ रहा था मैं उससे पूछ रही थी कि क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछे। तो मुझे पीछे से नोट कर रहे थे कि अच्छा इन्होंने सारे क्वेश्चंस सुन लिए कि हम क्या पूछ रहे हैं। तो जब मैं सबसे लास्ट में गई और वो बिल्कुल ही उन्होंने आउट ऑफ सिलेबस जो एक सोचा हुआ था कि ये क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे, इससे रिलेटेड पूछेंगे, वो बिल्कुल ही साइड ट्रैक पे चले गए। और फिर मैं काफी ज्यादा कंफ्यूज भी हो गई थी। बहुत सारे आंसर्स मैंने टेक्निकल आंसर्स मैंने सही भी दिए थे, बट बहुत सारे टेक्निकल आंसर्स मुझे नहीं पता थे और मुझसे गलत मैंने बताए। लेकिन ये है कि मैं एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर रही थी, मुझे लगा था बहुत बुरा इंटरव्यू गया और आई वोंट गेट दिस इंटर्नशिप, बट मेरा नाम उसमें आ गया था इवेंचुअली। तो सीखा मैंने ये कि थोड़ी सी ज्यादा प्रिपरेशन शायद कर लेनी चाहिए, और ज्यादा मुझे लगता है मैं कर सकती थी। थोड़ा और ज्यादा कॉन्सेप्ट्स पे आपकी ग्रेस्प होनी चाहिए। अगर बहुत ज्यादा कोई एडवांस क्वेश्चन है तो दैट्स फाइन, अगर वो आपको नहीं आ रहा, बट अगर कोई बेसिक क्वेश्चन है जो कि आपको आना चाहिए, बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है, तो वो तो आपको आना चाहिए, वरना वो बहुत बुरा इंप्रेशन डाल देता है।
Thank you so much, Subha. And I'm glad that at the end of the day, you got a job. And like we discussed, it's not about who is the most perfect candidate, who is the most confident candidate. It is about the one who basically shows that they are good learners and they are good resource for an organization that basically solves the problem. So, Tuba, basically जो blueprint है उसमें आपको लग रहा होगा कि आपने शायद सही नहीं किया है. But at the end of the day, for an interviewer part, you were able to answer questions which were not basically asked, with other, candidates before you. But at the end of the day, let's accept the fact that all of us, given we do not have training, we basically memorize the answers. Or if we do not memorize the answer, we at least write pointers. And the moment they ask you a different question, or at least the same question, but they rephrase it in a way where you might not know where it is coming from, where you might not know what is basically, the anticipation, behind this question. Do they want to ask your skill, your passion, your fit? That's where you basically, oftentimes mix things. And, this is what we basically do and, get to done at Amal, that we train our fellows towards कर्व बॉल क्वेश्चन कि एक ऐसा सवाल आपसे पूछ लिया जाए जिसके सवाल के जवाब का सही होना मुमकिन ही नहीं है, बट उसके बावजूद आपको उस सवाल का जवाब देना जरूरी है. सो किस तरीके से आप वो जवाब दे सकते हैं. ऑफन टाइम अनदर मिस्टेक व्हिच we do is when a question is asked, we tend to answer exactly after that. Whereas what we basically need to do, if we do not know about the answer, we can respectfully ask for time, maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And meanwhile, in those 10 to 15 seconds, we can actually, regain our thoughts and basically craft an answer as well. And then I'll move ahead towards how we can craft the answer. But thank you so much, Suba, for sharing your original, authentic experience. Really matters a lot. That basically was able to walk us through that, and in divided into three major components. फर्स्ट इज टेक्निकल पार्ट, जिसको आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी आपको तैयार कर रही है, आप खुद तैयार हो रहे हो. बट जो कम्युनिकेशन वाला पार्ट है, हाउ यू आर आर्टिकुलेटिंग इट, दैट मैटर्स. एंड हाउ थ्रू योर इंटरव्यूज यू बेसिकली आर शोकेसिंग थ्रू एवरी क्वेश्चन दैट you are the right fit for the job. And by right fit, they do not mean the one who knows everything, but the one who can make things happen. And that is exactly the thing which a lot of people, make mistake on. अगर आपको सब कुछ आता है तो आप सीखोगे नहीं, राइट? और अगर आप सीखोगे नहीं तो why would they invest their time and energy on you, right? Because then you'll also be a difficult person to deal with as well. And move ahead towards passenger series. While we talked about what evaluators are actually, evaluating through interviews, this basically is a mantra at Amal which we basically look at कि जब भी आप इंटरव्यू की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, एटलीस्ट आप इन 8 मुख्तलिफ कंपोनेंट्स का अगेन ख्याल जरूर रखें. फर्स्ट इज पैशन, सेकंड इज ऑडियंस, थर्ड इज स्टोरी टेलिंग, फोर्थ इज अगेन स्पेसिफिक. बाकी आप देख सकते हैं engage, extra mile networking, reflect, and every component has its own deeper, meaning. For instance, one of you talked about passion. One of you talked about, when you went there, you did not know what that organization was about. And let's be honest, all of us, when we are applying, we are desperate, right? Because we want to get a job because of peer pressure, because my peer is getting job and I'm not getting a job, or maybe because of the pressure from the family, because of the pressure from, okay, I'm not enough, or because of a pressure that, I should have done this, that, or I'm still not able to do that. And that pressure actually brings desperation. And given that desperation, we keep applying. We keep applying blindly. And because of that, हमें पता नहीं होता कि अच्छा मैंने इस कंपनी के लिए अप्लाई किया था आज से 4 महीने पहले, राइट? एंड व्हेन आई एम गेटिंग एन इंटरव्यू, call, I do not know that did I actually apply for this opportunity. But now when I've gotten an opportunity for the interview, now what, right? And that's fine to be desperate in this economy, right? But when you have actually received an opportunity, you need to basically show passion. And how do you basically possess that passion? You show that passion through showcasing research about company's profile, about company's vision, mission, about their current project, and how it aligns basically with your current standings, with your current experiences as well. A lot of time, when interviewer asks you what do you know about a company, what a lot of people basically do, A, they do not do anything, B, they just go through the website ka basics introduction dekh lenge. Whereas at Amal, what we basically recommend people is to go through their LinkedIn profile, is to go through their annual reports, is to go through their, at least 1 quarter's project, right? So you would know that what this company is up to, and when you are answering them, they would know that you are interested in them, right? Just imagine in real life, you're being with someone and you are not interested in them, and they are not interested in you, right? And that's not a simple thing, right? So whenever you're applying for a company, you need to have a research about them, about the interviewer, and even about, if not about an interviewer, but at least who are the right people in the company, who are the decision makers, what they are up to, what they are planning to do so. Because at the end of the day, they do not need labor, they need people who can add value. And you can only add value when you know what this company is already doing. Oftentimes, we think that as an intern, as an MTO, we do not bring that value. We are not able to change that thing. And that's where we are mistaken, right? As an MTO interview, if you're telling them about, misal ke taur pe, their Q3 report of 2025, and how that was able to add value to climate sustainability. I think that is one of the way you stand out. Just imagine NSSA हर साल 100 स्टूडेंट ग्रेजुएट हो रहा है, और वो 100 स्टूडेंट ग्रेजुएट होके सिर्फ दो पोजीशंस के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. 98 people will still remain unemployed, and that is because they are putting bare minimum efforts. So the question is, bare minimum effort do not take you anywhere, right? You need to go extra mile, you need to be visible, and one of the way you can be visible is through doing research about the company, about the decision makers, and sound like that you are putting efforts throughout the interview as well. Another way you can actually showcase your interview may passion is basically the way you are dressing up. Up now I need to dress up. What would I wear if I do not have anything? If I do not have a three piece, it is still is fine. But are you carrying yourself in a way where you are serious about the conversation, where you are serious about the interview, right? A lot of time, we think that this casual attitude would take us to places, whereas it also kind of contradicts with the seriousness as well. So yeah, so the way you are carrying yourself through your clothes, through your communication, that showcases your passion towards the seriousness of the job as well. So like I said again, passion about company, passion about companies projects is something that is really important. For instance, you see आपको slide में इस वक्त दिख रहा होगा कि if you are applying to a watch company, okay, are you aware about their a practical flow level thinking? So yeah, are you aware about their technical panel? If you are having a technical interview for instance, क्या आपको पता है कि ये बंदा अगर टेक्निकल है तो शायद इसकी एक्सपर्टी टेक्निकलिटी के एक्स वाई जी कंपोनेंट में ज्यादा है और एक्स वाई जी में नहीं है. So आप अपने आंसर्स को भी इस तरीके से ड्राफ्ट कर रहे हो. I'll move ahead, but again, like I said, passion is something that's one of the prerequisite of any interview. Moving forward, audience is another thing. A lot of time we draft answer in a way that can be given to anyone, which is wrong. How you can actually reach out to the right audience, and by audience I mean an interview is the person who is taking your interview, right? If it is an HR, so you do not provide them information about your tangible experiences. You do not give them experience, all your experiences all at once. You basically walk them through. You basically touch base, with your interview, with your experiences, and then walk through. But if there is a technical person, and if you're giving them, communication answers, if you're not walking them through with numbers, if you're not walking them through with the results, I think that is where you are missing an opportunity, right? So knowing your audience is really important. Now, how you can find your audience? Definitely LinkedIn. I'll pause here. How many of you actually have LinkedIn profiles? And this reminds me, I think last time we did a LinkedIn session. Yeah. Okay. So out of, I think, 64 right now, we have 18 people, who have their LinkedIn, which is hardly 20%, right? Or 30%. Now you see that 70% of our youth do not have LinkedIn profile, and that is fine. And here is another question. And that question is for you. Do you have an active LinkedIn? Having a LinkedIn is a good thing, but having an active LinkedIn where you are connecting with right people, where you are finding right people, where you are looking after, looking for the right audiences as well. Okay, so 12 of you only apply, raised hand that you are saying that you have basically active LinkedIn profiles, 12 or 14, right? And I think let's take it as a, growth opportunity, that let's start creating our visible, more active LinkedIn profiles as well. And that's how you basically are able to connect with audience as well. Knowing what your audience is, crafting your answers accordingly, that basically, lands well as well. So right now we talked about passion, we talked about audience in order to ace any interview. All right. अब नाउ अनदर क्वेश्चन इज लाइक आई हैव बीन सेइंग अगेन एंड अगेन कि यार सब लोग एक रटा रटाया एक सवाल का जवाब लिख लेते हैं, टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ, ठीक है. बट जैसे ही उन्होंने आपसे पूछा कि टेल मी समथिंग व्हिच यू डू नॉट हैव एडेड ऑन योर सीवी, सो आपके पैरों के नीचे से जमीन निकल जाती है और आपको पता होता है कि यार अब मैं इसका क्या जवाब. या वो आपसे ये पूछते हैं कि टेल मी अबाउट अ फेलियर एंड यू डू नॉट नो अबाउट दैट, राइट. हालांकि वो पूछ आपसे अल्टीमेटली ये रहा है कि टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ, बट यू नीड टू जस्ट लाइक ऑल्टर अ बिट ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन अकॉर्डिंगली, राइट. एंड दैट्स वेयर बेसिकली स्टोरी टेलिंग कम्स इन. हम गलती ये करते हैं कि हम एक रटा रटाया आंसर उसको अंग्रेजी में रट लेते हैं, और जैसे ही हम ए एंड द बोलते हैं हम पूरा सवाल कंफ्यूज कर देते हैं, राइट. एंड दैट्स लाइक आई सेड, you need to go through the process, you need to go through the articulation as well. और वहां पर आता है story telling, that how you are basically crafting your answer. I'll pause here again. मदीहा, आपका एक हाथ उठा हुआ है, इकरा आपका एक हाथ उठा हुआ है. You guys have questions? Perfect. I'll pause here again. My question to you guys is, what framework do you use when you are crafting an answer? कुछ लोगों ने स्लाइड देखी थी मेरी वैसे, but you do not have to specifically rely on what I said. जब आप किसी सवाल का जवाब लिख रहे होते हो तो आपका क्या फ्रेमवर्क होता है? Feel free to use your mic at this point. अगर मैं आपसे ये सवाल पूछूं कि अपनी स्ट्रेंथ बताएं मुझे, तो सवाल के जवाब को क्राफ्ट करने का आपका तरीकेकार क्या होगा?
हेलो, मैं audible?
Yes, please, Afifa, go ahead.
तो जब हम कोई आंसर लिख रहे होते हैं तो ये चीज होती है दैट वी मेक अ माइंड मैप और समथिंग, कि हम पहले उस चीज का बैकग्राउंड लिखें, फिर उसके बारे में जो मेन पॉइंट है एंड देन उसको कंक्लूड कर लें अच्छे तरीके से. बट बोलते टाइम वी हैव लेस टाइम, तो हमें जल्दी में आई गेस मैं ट्राई पूरा करती हूँ दैट उस चीज का पूरा आइडिया रहे सामने वाले को मैं क्या कह रही हूँ. बट आई गेस टाइम की वजह से समटाइम्स ऐसा होता है कि पॉइंट्स आगे पीछे हो जाता है. और बट आई ट्राई कि पॉइंट्स फ्लो में जाए, जो चीज पहले बोलनी है वो पहले बोली जाए और जो चीज बाद में बोलनी है वो बाद में बोली जाए, ताकि जो भी हम कन्वे करना चाह रहे हैं वो सही से हो जाए.
Perfect. So you basically use a model where you sort thing in order कि पहले क्या बोलना है, बीच में क्या बोलना है, और एंड में कंक्लूजन होना चाहिए. So that is your framework, and if it is working for you, if I'm glad. This is what I love about NED Scholars always, that you guys bring so much value in conversations whenever you speak. Thank you so very much for that. I'll move ahead now in contrast of time. One of the way, again, to talk about your experiences is, like Afifa mentioned, for her, the model work where she's prioritizing things in order. Another way is SOS model, which is situation, obstacle, solution. Now, this is, like I said, one of the only model which we use at Amal, but alongside SOS, we use star, card, sword. We also use, multiple other methods as well in order to draft our answer, right? अब इससे होता क्या है, जब आप ये मॉडल यूज करो, वो आपसे पूछ रहे हैं कि टेल मी what is your strength, or tell me what is your weakness. And when you do that, you just do not say, yeah, tell me, basically, that do you have a leadership experience. A lot of people, what they basically mistake at is, yes, I have a leadership experience, and then they move ahead, right? They do not talk about कि अच्छा भाई मैं जो है एनएसएस स्कॉलर में आई वाज अ वॉलंटियर, या मैं एनएसएस स्कॉलर में मैंने एक वेबिनार ऑर्गेनाइज करवाने के लिए उसको सर्कुलेशन की थी, ठीक है. अच्छा, अभी भी ये सवाल मिक्स जो है ना, हाफ completed it. So basically, if I am asking you as a student, were you were you indulged with anything that has to do with the student societies, then what they basically do, yeah, I was a member of an NSS scholar. So yeah, the right way would be, yes, I've worked as a member of NED Scholar, and in the year of 2025 to 2026, when I was a volunteer, I basically worked in, for instance, outreach and marketing team. I organized 10 or 15 programs, and in those 10 to 15 programs, we were able to facilitate 2,500 NED students, and who were able to learn leadership, entrepreneurship, community leadership. And at the same time, 70% of them were basically reported that they had improved confidence, community engagement as well. Now you see, एक आंसर ये है कि आई वाज एबल टू हैव लीडरशिप, और आई वाज जस्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ स्टूडेंट सोसाइटी. दूसरा पार्ट ये है कि आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट रिजल्ट एज वेल, और मैंने ज्यादा टाइम ही नहीं लिया. मैंने टाइम सिर्फ 2 या 2.5 मिनट ही लिया है. बट दिस वे अराउंड आई वाज आल्सो एबल टू वॉक देम थ्रू विद एन एक्सपीरियंस, through qualitative or quantitative impact as well. Like I said, for two position, 100 applicants, you need to tell them that why you are the one who is actually bringing result and impact. And there is a question again, a lot of you right now who are the part of this webinar, you might not have experience, right? आप शायद वॉलंटियरिंग एक्सपीरियंसेस ही ना हो, और आप बोलेंगे यार मेरे पास कोई एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं है, अब मैं क्या किसी को बताऊं कि भाई मेरे 70% एनएसएस स्कॉलर से जो है ना लोग benefit कर पाए. I think that's also a learning curve for all of us, that you need to also at the same time start indulging with the student societies. NSS, है आपके पास NED scholar है, which is working so extensively. Whenever you'll be applying for masters, inshallah, this opportunity of working with student societies, that actually helps, because that showcases that you are someone who is adding value beyond classrooms as well. That if you're working with NED Scholar, for instance, also start applying for TCF as well. Volunteer with them. That basically adds on onto your resume. So when you are a student, you also have experiences beyond classroom as well, and that's what, like we said, Amal Career Fellowship helps as well. That it helps you build a certain portfolio. I'll come back to the point. Like we discussed, and any question, be it is like, tell me about yourself, tell me a time where you put effort and that resulted onto negative or positive impact. Tell me about a time when you showed leadership. Tell me about a time, when you were able to work in a team. And that doesn't necessarily have to be large number. Even if you're working in a team of your department and you are just presenting your final year project, right? You can also talk about that. But how you're basically crafting it, that's where SOS model comes in, where you talk about, yes, I was able to, yeah, I was doing this task. When I was doing this task, there's this challenge. For instance, when I was working with FYP, I was having challenge where four members, they were not aligned. They were having different difficulty with their time management. And now, as an individual, what did you do? You basically, wrote meeting minutes for them. You basically had a one-on-one conversation with them. You basically distributed, responsibility in a way which is, based on their expertise. And this way around, you guys were able to execute your final year project with more concrete manner. And at the end of the day, it scored 80% of the marks out of 100. Have you seen? FYP से सब गुजर चुके हैं, but how you're crafting FYP, that matters a lot as well. And I think now at this point, all of you have some stories to say, some stories to share and craft as well. Another thing, and before I conclude, और ये बड़ा contradiction है कि मैं इतनी सारी बातें बोल रहा हूँ और मैं खुद specific होने की बात कर रहा हूँ, but this is what life is. In interviews, please do not give your TED talks. Please do not give your pep talks. You need to tell them very specifically what problem do you solve, right? As an MTO, what do you know? So what you do not know also. हम कोशिश करते हैं whenever we are appearing in interview that we are trying to showcase that we are the best. No, you do not have to showcase that. You only need to tell them that what do you have, what you are learning, what you are already working to grow on, but at the same time, what are your growth areas as well, right? The moment you will not talk about your growth areas, the moment that is exactly going to be the moment where they would say, why would they invest on you, right? But I would like to come back to the point. You need to be specific as well. Whenever you're crafting your answers, please make sure that that answer do not go more than 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. But another thing, also ensure that you are not giving all the information in first and second answer, because होता उससे ये कि whole of your interview become the repetition of your first answer. आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं, मैं पढ़ूंगा नहीं दोबारा इसको, but you see, both of them are similar, right? But at the same time, the second one has more information, more value, more result driven, approach about what value you as an individual would add or has added already when you were given an opportunity to deal and lead. So I think that's something which is important. What we did talk about before I give Soeba the floor, we talked about passion through understanding the organization, passion through your own research, passion through the way you are carrying yourself, passion through research. Another thing is passion through knowing market as well. A lot of people do not prepare for market. अगर आप टोयोटा के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हो तो क्या आपको पता है कि सुजुकी कहाँ पे खड़ा हुआ है इस वक्त? सुजुकी का अपना ROI कितना है? A lot of time we do not talk about market competitors as well. So you need to also be prepared for market with competitors on it, and that showcases passion. I talked about audience किस जरिए किस audience के लिए क्या answer craft करना है. I also talked about storytelling. One of the way of storytelling is SOS model, and how you can showcase that you are talking and incorporating answers, quality, quantity, and results. And then we talked about all of that, while being ensuring that we are specific to answers and we are still interesting and interested. And with this, for moreover, I'll give the floor to Saiba and I'll take a water break. Saiba, over to you.
All right, thank you so much. I think I can share my screen, sir, if it's okay. Right. ठीक हो गया. So thank you so much. I think अभी तक अगर किसी का कुछ सवाल है तो we can take 2 minutes and we can answer the questions and then we can move ahead. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, just raise your hand or maybe write down in the chat box. कुछ चीजें हमने सीख ली हैं और सुन ली हैं और कुछ चीजें हमारी रह गई हैं, so we can cover that up. Let me know if you guys have any question for now before I move ahead. We have questions? Okay.
मेरा क्वेश्चन
Yes,
ये
Subha,
था
go ahead.
कि कभी कभी ऐसा होता है हमारे पास इंटरव्यूज में कोई नॉन टेक्निकल पर्सन होता है और वो टेक्निकल इंटरव्यू कर रहे होते हैं, जैसे मेरी फ्रेंड का अभी एक्सपीरियंस हुआ था, उन्होंने इंटर्नशिप के लिए इंटरव्यू दिया था, तो आई गेस वो एचआर के थे, और उन्होंने, उनका बेसिकली क्वेश्चन था कि व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन डेटा मैनिपुलेशन एंड डेटा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, और कुछ इस तरह का क्वेश्चन था। तो मेरी फ्रेंड का आंसर यही था कि इन दोनों में ऐसा कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है, इंटरचेंजेबली इनको यूज कर सकते हैं। बट उनका था कि डेटा मैनिपुलेशन, तो फिर वो तो डेटा तो डर्टी हो गया, तो आप डर्टी डेटा कैसे यूज करेंगे। तो उसने एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश की, बट फिर उसको फिर खुद भी समझ नहीं आया उसको कि वो उस चीज़ को कैसे एक्सप्लेन करे कि डेटा मैनिपुलेशन इज बेसिकली डेटा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। तो इस चीज़ को फिर कैसे हैंडल करें अगर कोई नॉन टेक्निकल पर्सन आपसे टेक्निकल क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा और वो फिर आपको भी खुद भी कभी हो जाता है, कंफ्यूज कर दें।
I think, sir, do you want to add? Okay, all right.
Sure. So I think that's a problem with the recruitment as well. That a lot of people do not know what they're asking. I think digging question is really important. So, for instance, if I was your friend and you were in HR, I would have asked them transformation. Misal ke what is their understanding about data transformation? For instance, right? So the moment you are having a counter question, that's how you are having more clearer picture about what is their current understanding about that, right? And based on that, देखो एक और चीज होती है कि you do not have to correct them. You are not in a position of authority, unfortunately, at that point. So the moment you will be correcting them, that's where it will turn into an ego war, right? You can also kind of like understand that two truth can coexist at one point, right? Maybe शायद उनका perspective of truth is different, ठीक है, even if it is right or wrong, but your truth can also exist. I feel at that point of time, based on my experience, and that can be entirely wrong. A lot of time, when we think that the सामने वाला बंदा is asking a wrong question, we think that the person doesn't know anything, right? And that also, I think becomes very obvious on our face expression as well. So I think also ensuring that our expressions, non-verbal and verbal both, are very humble when we are correcting someone, but our tone should be in a way where we are not sounding like we are correcting them. We are asking them for more explanation, and we are actually aligning our truth with their truth while not agreeing with their wrong statement. I hope I'm able to answer you, Tuba. So whenever you do not have clarity and you think that सामने वाला बंदा is not giving you more information, okay, always ask question. अच्छा भाई, you said this is that and this is that is the thing. What do you think about this? Okay, or can you give me more information about this? So this way around, they are feeling heard, they are feeling valued and listened, because I feel it's less about right answer and it's more about them actually agreeing to the point that they are wrong, right? So yeah,
All
Afsar,
right.
you can add on.
Yeah, I think you did cover it up really well. I was just curious about the curiosity that they have. So what we can do is you guys can write it down in the chat box, and I think meanwhile I can cover it up. So like Sarah Mark can cover up the question in the chat box. That would be great. So thank you so much, guys, for asking question. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Sir, my question to you is, how are you?
I'm good. It's like I said, working with team
Okay,
with
now
NED
ask me
Scholar
the
is always
same.
nice.
Now ask me the same question.
How are you, Saiba? You look yellow today.
Okay, so I am good because I slept for 8 hours and I had a really good breakfast. I did help out my mom because I'm at home today, so I'm feeling really better now. So what do you guys think? What's the better answer? Being specific. Is it the I'm fine, or is it the coming up with a lot of information? So just giving you a very basic example here, that we always felt like that being specific doesn't really work, but it does when you're answering questions specifically in an interview setting. मैं अभी बहुत basic example दे रही थी, but that's what not it is. The prompt is, the crux is that you need to understand that you need to be very specific, right? So बहुत छोटी सी बात है, but when you are giving out the answers in an interview, हम nervous भी होते हैं, परेशान भी होते हैं, anxiety भी होती है. So we do give answers, right? So I think we can move ahead. But anybody have any question, definitely write down the chat box or just keep there within the notes so we can take it in the end. Moving forward, I need to ask a question, that is, how can we engage ourselves and then go the extra mile? अब interview हो चुका है, ठीक है, आप जा चुके हैं, interview हो चुका है. What can be done in order to show you that you can go extra mile? And it's a very vague question. You can add anything to it. Anyone who wanted to add whatever you feel like. I'm also looking forward to the chat box. Okay. All right. Hadia, what do you think? How can we go extra mile? Interview तो दे दिया अब हमने.
We can go extra mile interview देने के बाद by giving them a thank you email for inviting us for the interview, as well as mentioning if any point left you think कि हम उनसे feedback लेते हुए usually होता है कि कुछ pointers रह जाते हैं तो हम वो pointers भी add कर सकते हैं उस thank you note में, so which makes the interview more कि हमारे ताकि उन्हें sense पहुंच जाए, but in a specific way definitely. So yeah, we learned that. So
All
that's
right.
how we
Thank you
go
so much,
extra
Hadia.
mile.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's what extra mile does. So हम life में बहुत जगह extra mile जा रहे होते हैं in our university, sometimes for our friends, sometimes for the family, sometimes for the professional settings, but we don't realize what this means. So इसको use कैसे करना है extra mile के concept को? So what you can do is you can ask the real questions. जब एक दफा interview खत्म हो जाता है, चाहे किसी बहुत बड़ी organization में हो या छोटी organization में हो, they definitely would be asking that do you have any questions, right? At the end of the interview, where you can stand out, because a lot of people I have seen being in the HR that people are not asking questions. They were like, no, I'm fine. No, नहीं सही है, मेरे पास कोई सवाल नहीं है. And that's where your turning point is. वो बोलते हैं अच्छा इसके पास सवाल नहीं है, that means the person is not passionate enough, the person haven't done any research. या अगर कोई सवाल हम पूछते भी हैं, so like सवाल कौन से पूछने हैं, that's also a thing. So we do discuss a lot of all the things in our fellowship बहुत detail में. अभी I'm just keeping it very short. So we don't need to ask, like what does your company do, because that's already there. आप ये सब करके समझ के आपने apply किया और आप तभी interview के लिए आए. Just show them that you have done a research. You can talk about a process, you can talk about a product, you can talk about any recent expansion that happened. ताकि उनको पता चले कि अच्छा oh like that person has been following us for a long time. तो वो आपका research show करेगा. Research का मतलब है passion show करेगा. Passion का मतलब ये है interest show करेगा. And eventually you would be able to like bridge that gap जो अभी तक बाकी किसी भी कैंडिडेट्स ने नहीं किया. एक एचआर का बंदा जो सुबह से बैठा हुआ शाम तक सिर्फ इंटरव्यूज ले रहा है, उसके सामने you need to come up with something that comes as and stand out. And stand out के लिए you need to go extra mile. So I hope I'm very clear in this concept. Anybody who have any question? I think I have seen a question in the chat box. I can take it in the end. So do ask, right? क्योंकि extra mile का concept बहुत beautiful है, but you need to make sure that you are using it and you are utilizing it in a like a actual way. तभी वो कहते हैं ना जब सही टारगेट पे चीज लगती है तभी वो वर्क करती है. So you need to be make sure that you are doing it very targeted. So this is one thing. Again, if you are going there, you can bring something extra for the recruiters. Maybe a small project summary, maybe a small portfolio. कोई आपके पास ऐसा सवाल है जो कि like you think that would stand out, do make sure that you're asking this question. So उस slot को जब हम interview हो जाता है और जब questions पूछने होते हैं, do not leave that slot over there. Do ask questions, do come up with the questions. पहले से सोच के लेके जाएं. So this is one thing I really want to talk about. Moving ahead, I think sir हमारे ने बात की अभी LinkedIn पे भी बात हुई थी, networking पे भी बात हुई थी. So how can we utilize our networking for the in-person and for the online too? Anybody who have anything to add in this specifically? I'm also looking forward to the chat box in case थोड़ा जल्दी बोल दिया हो मैंने. Okay, anybody who can add to it? And if not, that's completely fine. So what we can do is we do the networking in two ways, right? We have two major chunks, in person and online. In person, I think we most are aware about. I think you all have been to career fairs or sometimes you are visiting the, like any plants or any field visits. So वहाँ पे आप जाते हैं तो आपकी networking होती है. For that specifically, again, ask very, very specific questions. Ask technical questions, show them that you are interested. So there's a very beautiful concept. Personal life में भी काम आता है और professional life में भी काम आता है. That instead of like the other person or the other company is interested, try to come up that you are interested in them. ठीक है? और जब आप interested होंगे तो आप show ऐसे ही करेंगे that you have done your research and you have shown your passion. So this plays a very major role. चाहे आप इंटरव्यू में क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो, चाहे आप इन पर्सन में नेटवर्किंग कर रहे हो या ऑनलाइन में कर रहे हो, बट मेक श्योर दैट यू आर आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस, you are being interested in them. ठीक है? So for introducing yourself, I think you can come up definitely the 3 major pointers: name, department, and then definitely one clear interest, that what exactly you're interested, where do you want to move forward. So there are a couple of things, like obviously collect a contact जब आप कहीं कर रहे हो, and making sure that you are following up and reminding them within 20-48 hours. क्योंकि अगला बंदा बिजी हो सकता है, ठीक है? इसमें कोई शर्माने की बात नहीं है रिमाइंडर्स देने में. You can definitely give reminders and you can definitely follow up within 48 hours. For the online networking, I think I'll go ahead with the definitely LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile में भी आजकल a lot of people are just using it as in dating app. To be honest, they are not really serious about what this, like LinkedIn profile and LinkedIn platform can do. It does wonders. So I have seen people getting the jobs. I have seen people getting the really good offers from LinkedIn, but you need to use it very wisely. You need to make connections very wisely. So वहाँ पे अच्छी फोटो होना, अपडेटेड प्रोफाइल रखना, स्किल्स ऐड करना, प्रोजेक्ट्स ऐड करना, रिकमेंडेशंस देना, अगर आप उसको सही से मेंटेन करेंगे, so you will get opportunities from LinkedIn. I'm telling you, this is very clear. Nobody have told us when I was in my back in my university, लेकिन this is very one thing. तो जो आप घर में बैठे हुए हो, मोबाइल आपके हाथ में है, LinkedIn आपके हाथ में है, and you can just make it up and making sure that you are connecting with the companies, with the मतलब जिनके लिए आप जहां जाने के लिए इंटरेस्टेड हैं, वहां के लोगों को जो है आप कनेक्शन रिक्वेस्ट भेजें, उनसे बात करें, उनसे सवाल पूछें, उनसे पूछें कि कंपनी का कल्चर कैसा है. इफ देयर एनी पोजीशन ओपनिंग, लेट अस नो. एक मैसेज करने में कुछ भी नहीं जाएगा. सो व्हाट्स द वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो? सब आप कर देते हैं, अगला बंदा कनेक्ट नहीं करता, दिस इज द वर्स्ट केस. ठीक है? आप सवाल भेज रहे हैं, अगला बंदा रिप्लाई नहीं कर रहा, दिस इज द वर्स्ट केस. सो देयर इज नो लॉस, आपका कोई लॉस नहीं है. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू आर यूटिलाइजिंग दिस प्लेटफॉर्म because this is really good. Okay, I can pause here for 10 seconds. There are a lot of questions in the chat box. I think my team can answer it, or otherwise I can take it in the end, but I'm loving the questions. All right, so just wrapping things up. So there are a couple of mistakes that most of the candidates do. Okay, number one is that not knowing your work, not knowing your resume, not knowing your CV. So making sure कि जब आप रिज्यूमे बना रहे हो, CV बना रहे हो, so वही relevant data ऐड करो जो कि आप justify कर सकते हो या वो सच हो. ठीक है? मैंने देखा है, even like I could add my example here very proudly, that I have added the things which I haven't done. और मुझे लगता था कि इसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं, like it's just for the like filling up the page. But then I got to know that no, eventually A, ethically it's wrong. B, the recruiter will check, the recruiter will ask question and I won't be able to defend it. So definitely ऐसे कोई भी चीज नहीं डालनी है CV के अंदर, रिज्यूमे के अंदर, जो कि आपकी है ही नहीं या आपने की ही नहीं. Second thing, regarding the in-person interview, weak body language makes a lot of sense. ठीक है? आपका आई कांटेक्ट बहुत पुअर है, आपके आर्म जो है ऐसे क्रॉस में अगर हुए में हैं, तो देयर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वी डू डिस्कस इन द फेलोशिप, बट अभी बहुत बेसिक्स पे बात कर रहे हैं. सो अगर आप कहीं मम्बलिंग कर भी रहे हैं, राइट, कहीं आप अटक भी रहे हैं, सो हाउ टू कवर दैट अप, दैट्स आल्सो अ स्किल. मैं भी अटकती हूँ, सलमान भी अटकते हैं, हादिया भी अटकती है, एवरीबडी इन दिस रूम वी ऑल डू दैट. लेकिन हाउ डू वी कवर दैट अप, दैट्स आल्सो मैटर्स. सो सेकंड थिंग, थर्ड थिंग इज दैट, अगेन मैंने इस पर बहुत डिटेल में बात की है कि क्वेश्चन लेके जाना है पैनल के लिए, पहले से सोच के जाएं, रिसर्च करके जाएं. Fourth thing is that do not come up with a rehearsed answers. Do not come up with a generic answers. ठीक है? So बहुत ज्यादा rehearse करके जाएंगे तो वो बिल्कुल exactly लगेगा कि कोई जैसे robotic answers हैं. Just go with the flow. Just keep natural, right? आपका काम है, आपकी चीज है, आप अपने आप को like justify कर रहे हो, defend कर रहे हो. So definitely you can talk about yourself in a very natural way. I think I'll just keep it until now, इतना ही रखते हैं, because the next two things इतनी ज्यादा आप लोग से relevant नहीं है. So we can move ahead and just one last thing, again before the interview, what you can do, you can research the company. ठीक है? You can prepare your stories. Again सर ने बात की SOS मॉडल की, तो SOS मॉडल पे आप स्टोरीज प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं. अपने क्वेश्चन प्रिपेयर करके जाएं इंटरव्यू से पहले, ताकि आप वो पूछ सकें. Definitely print your resume, print your CV and check your outfit. जरूरी नहीं है कि आप 10,000 के कपड़े खरीदें, लेकिन जो कपड़े हैं वो अच्छे से आयरन हो, वो उस पर कोई स्टेन ना हो, एंड दैट्स सम कंफर्टेबल क्लोथ्स एज वेल। कोई नए कपड़े में पहन के चले जाएं कि वो वहां जा रहे हैं तो चुभ रहे हैं या कुछ हो रहा है, ठीक है। सो दैट्स वन थिंग ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू। व्हाट यू कैन डू इज डेफिनेटली non-verbal gestures makes you stand out. So handshake करना है नहीं करना, again if it's the same gender, so you can do the handshake. If not, then not. You need to make sure that you are making the eye contact. बहुत जरूरी है कि आप किस तरीके से बैठे हैं, बहुत जरूरी है। So जिस तरीके से आप बैठे हुए होते हैं, पता चल जाता है कि अच्छा बंदा नर्वस है, परेशान है, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट है, नहीं है। तो ये सब चीजों का बहुत ख्याल रखना है, ठीक है। And after the interview, what you can do is, but Hadia have mentioned earlier, कि you need to send a short and specific thank you note to the recruiter. अब आपके पास email है तो आप email कर सकते हैं, आपके पास LinkedIn है आप LinkedIn कर सकते हैं. So you can find out any other way, लेकिन make sure that you are doing it because other people don't do that. So this is your standing out point. So with that, I think a lot of talks, a lot of conversation for now. I'll just stop here, and definitely a one pointer for you all, that do reflect after every interview, because even if it's something a failure, that will be there for you, and again a really big help, a really big support in the next interview. So गिरने के बाद भी इंसान सीखता है और उड़ने के बाद भी इंसान सीखता है, लेकिन make sure that वो सीख रहा हो. So over to you, Yashveen, or whoever that is. And also, I think Laiba is here, so we can take her response if Laiba is here. Laiba, can you raise your hand? I cannot see you. Laiba is here, yes. Okay, Laiba, can you please unmute yourself? Yashveen, I'll give you the floor in 2 minutes next, after Laiba. Okay, Laiba. All right, Laiba, are you there? Okay. I'm not sure if she was struggling with the internet too. I think Yashmin, over to you. Meanwhile, if she can figure that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. You both were fantastic speakers, and thank you for your time. I highly appreciate your practical advice you shared today. I personally really like the SOS model. I know these strategies are going to give a massive confidence boost to everyone here and when they face their next interview job. So, a huge shout out to Amal Academy and their ambassadors for their ongoing commitment. And thank you both for sharing such inspiring stories. Now, to officially bring things to a close, I'd like to invite the president of NED Scholars, Asia, to share a few final thoughts. Um, I hope Asia is here.
Yeah, am I
Yashvi, can I
audible?
take a moment? Yashvi, can I take a moment? I'm so sorry before we conclude. We also have a guest right now, guest alumni from Lahore, who has been spying on our Karachi's event. So before Asia take an opportunity to conclude, I would like the floor to have Amna from Lahore, if she can walk us through a little bit about her Amal experience. Amna.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are doing well and I am very happy to see you. मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी हो रही है जब स्टार्ट में मैम ने कहा ना कि यहाँ पे कोई अमल लुमना है, तो आई बैडली वांट टू ऐड कि भाई मैं भी बोलूँ, मैं भी बताऊँ कि मैं थी पिछले साल बैच थी 56 से। और बिफोर ज्वाइनिंग अमल करियर प्रेप फेलोशिप मैंने आपको अपने वो 1-on-1 मेंटोरशिप में भी बताया था कि मैं बहुत नर्वस और उस तरह की लड़की थी, लाइक लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस वाली, कि जिसको आंसर्स आते होते थे बट वो दे नहीं पाती थी। बट अमल की जो फेलोशिप थी उससे निकलने के बाद मेरे में इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया कि मैं अपना हाथ खड़ा कर देती हूँ कि मुझसे भी पूछ ले, मैं बताना चाहती हूँ। और अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सारी अगर हम प्रोफेशनलिज्म को साइड पे कर दें, अमल से जो मैंने कनेक्शंस बनाया ना, वो तो मुझे लगता है शायद कभी भी नहीं खत्म हो सकते। आप वो इस तरह के कनेक्शन है। मैंने पिछले दिनों सिद्रा को मैसेज किया एक काम के लिए, तो फौरन रिस्पॉन्स आ गया। इवन मैं मैम माहम से बात करूँ, किससे भी, तो सब इतने प्यार से लाइक वो जुड़ जुड़ के रहते हैं कि आपको खुशी होती है। तो मेरा जो अमल के साथ वो जो कनेक्शन, लाइक मैं तो अमल को अमल फैमिली कहती हूँ, अपने बैच को फैमिली कहती हूँ कि हम लोग फैमिली की तरह हैं, कि हम लोग जिस तरह एक दूसरे के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। इवन हम लोग प्लान कर रहे थे, पिछले दिनों भी हमने एक सेशन किया था और अभी भी हमने अपने एक अमल अलुमनाई को कहा हुआ था कि आप मूवी सेशन प्लान करें। तो हम ये जो अमल करियर प्रेप फेलोशिप है साथ साथ चलती रहती है। तो इट्स अ ग्रेट एक्सपीरियंस।
Thank you so much, Amna. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I think it was lovely to hear you. So you want to add anything? I'm sorry, I just took over.
No, thank you so much, Yashvin. So sorry for interrupting you. Over to you.
No problem. Asya, you can go ahead.
All right, so I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I really want to thank Sarah Mar and Ma'am Sweba for their participation. They're like taking out their time and helping us know more about interview skills. I have also been an Amal alumni. Oh, sorry, I have also been an Amal fellow, and it was a great experience. I was a fellow from Sarah Mar's team as well, and Ma'am Anusha, and we also have the experience to like have 1 week with Ma'am Sweba as well. So I've interacted with all of them, and they're amazing people. Like I wish I would have more time to invest in Amal Academy, so I could like absorb more of these things. And some like now also I sometimes go back to the courses of Amal Academy online courses and to get like revise the things. And previous days I was revising the Khodi and the teamwork principle. So it was amazing. Acha, as Yashvin said, that I am also serving as the president of NED Scholars. So I would like highly encourage all of you to please visit our social media handles for more of such like webinars, seminars, details. We like keep on posting these kind of webinars, these kind of like seminars, and proudly most of our alumni are in foreign countries, like they're in USA, UK, and Canada. So we keep on hosting these kind of webinars, which can help you basically go out and take fully funded scholarships or basically go out and study. So that's it. I am not at home. I am at university, and the background is not so good, so I'm not opening my video. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you so much, Asya. As we conclude, I truly hope you all found this webinar incredibly beneficial. Thank you for being such an awesome, attentive, and interactive audience today. Take care. If anyone wants to add anything, you can go ahead, or else we'll discontinue.
All right, thank you so much, Ashwin. We can open to questions, and anybody who have any questions, you can stay back and ask a question verbally. So chat box पे I think हमने answer किए हैं, but अगर किसी का कोई सवाल रह गया तो please stay back with us. Otherwise, thank you so much guys for joining us. Take care, Allah Hafiz.
I have one question. क्योंकि असल में हमारे पास ये होता है कि जब वो सैलरी नेगोशिएशंस की बात आती है और फिर इंटरव्यू अगर आपसे पूछें व्हाट आर योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस एंड एट द सेम टाइम बिकॉज आई अगर मैं अपनी बात करूं तो एक थोड़ा सा वो इम्पोस्टर सिंड्रोम भी होता है कि एक्सपीरियंस बिल्कुल भी नहीं है अभी। तो इस चीज़ को कैसे नेविगेट करना है?
So as long as I could understood your question, is it about salary negotiation? Is it about being anxious?
इट्स अबाउट सैलरी नेगोशिएशंस कि अगर इंटरव्यू आपसे पूछें कि व्हाट आर योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस और या फिर अगर आपको थोड़ी सी मार्केट का भी अंदाजा हो कि व्हाट आर योर सैलरी रेंजेस बट एट द सेम टाइम थोड़ा सा एक इम्पोस्टर सिंड्रोम भी होता है कि कोई एक्सपीरियंस एज सच नहीं है अभी बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। तो इन सारी चीज़ों को कैसे हैंडल करना है?
Okay, all right. I think Sir Amar can better add to it. So sir, over to you.
I think so. You can equally better add to it. You just want to put me into difficult questions, but I wouldn't mind. Uh, I think again, Tuba, as a generation, we are in an imposter syndrome, trauma. All of us are just like, either faking that we are perfect, whereas at, a point, we think that we don't deserve it, or maybe what we have, this is something that is given to us because Allah Ta'ala definitely has been very kind, but it's something that's just like we do not deserve, or agar दुनिया को पता चल जाए तो क्या होगा, that I'm not that much talented. Honestly, if that like me right now, being at 29 year of my age, I feel sometimes imposter syndrome too, and that's fine. But at the same time, your worth is made on the basis of how relevant you are, how skilled you are, how open you are towards learning, and also how you solve a problem as well. So I think I would definitely not recommend you कि यार अगर तुम एमटीए के लिए अप्लाई कर रही हो और तुम बोलो कि मुझे 2 लाख रुपए की तनख्वाह चाहिए, definitely not, right? That also showcases that you are not very much aware about market. But if the market rate is basically 60,000 and you are fine with 40,000, then that is imposter syndrome. See, you have a brain, then just because you have a brain, you have mental health as well. Okay, and because of that mental health, you'll have imposter syndrome. There would be days where you'll be judging yourself, where you'll be questioning yourself as well. But at the same time, knowing what skills do you bring on the table. So yeah, if you are appearing in today's session, believe me, you have something which you can give onto the table. That can be sometime your time, your field experience or field understanding, but also what value or what problem do you solve. अब घूम फिर के बात ये आ रही है कि आपको एक तो मार्केट रिसर्च करने की जरूरत है, तो ये मार्केट रिसर्च करके समझने की जरूरत है कि जिस जॉब के लिए आप अप्लाई कर रहे हो उसका सैलरी ब्रैकेट कितना है, ठीक है? अब सैलरी ब्रैकेट अक्सर औकात जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन पे डला हुआ होता है, ठीक है? अगर जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन पे नहीं डला हुआ है तो टॉक टू पीपल अराउंड, ठीक है? टॉक टू योर प्रोफेसर्स, टॉक टू प्रोफेशनल्स, ठीक है? एंड फॉर दैट आई थिंक यू नीड टू हैव अ मेंटोर, ठीक है? हु एक्चुअली कैन वॉक यू थ्रू कि अच्छा भाई टोयोटा में मिसाल के तौर पर तुम अप्लाई कर रही हो, तो टोयोटा में एमटीओ के लिए जो जो सैलरी स्केल है वो 40 से 50 है, सही है? सो वहां पे तुम्हें 40 से 50 अप्लाई करना चाहिए। अब सवाल ये कि आप अगर यू सी इफ यू विल नॉट टॉक अबाउट व्हाट यू डिजर्व, नो वन वुड टॉक अबाउट यू ईदर, ठीक है? बट इन ऑर्डर टू टॉक अबाउट व्हाट यू डिजर्व, यू नीड टू बी श्योर अबाउट व्हाट यू हैव, ठीक है? And what how you would be sure about it? You would be sure about what you have based on the reflection about your skill set, ठीक है? Okay, what skill do you bring, ठीक है? What market stands for, what market offers, and at the same time इसका salary bracket क्या है, ठीक है? And then at the same time also talk about what is the inflation rate. Inflation rate पे कोई बात नहीं करता, पर मिसाल के तौर पे अगर तुम्हें एमटीओ की नौकरी लगी है तुम्हारी, ठीक है? तो वहां पे तुम्हारा 30,000 तो किराया लग जाएगा, ठीक है? सो अगर 30,000 तुम्हारा सिर्फ किराया लग जाए और तुम आज भी 30,000 की कर रही हो, दैट डजंट मेक सेंस एट ऑल, right? So you always need to understand 3 to 4 things. A, what is your current skill set? B, what is the skill set you are working on? C, what is the market bracket? D, what is the inflation rate? And based on that, you basically communicate. Okay? Am I answering you, Tuba?
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. That definitely answers my question. It was a great experience, a great webinar, and it was really helpful overall. Thank
Really
you.
means a lot. Really means a lot. Really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Sir, I have one question too.
Yes, please go ahead, Amna.
सर आफ्टर ग्रेजुएटिंग फ्रॉम अमल अकेडमी मैं बहुत सी जगह सेलेक्ट भी हुई ना इंटरव्यू देने के बाद, जिस तरह आप लोगों ने हमें इंटरव्यू स्किल्स के बारे में बताया एंड ऑल दैट। इवन ग्लोबली भी मैं एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का पार्ट हूँ। अब पिछले दिनों पिछले दिनों तो नहीं, मई में मैंने एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में अप्लाई किया। वो काफ़ी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है और इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है। तो मैंने अप्लाई किया, फिर मैं शॉर्ट लिस्ट हो गई। उसके बाद